So I got a question the past few days on my channel here from Limon2464 asking, Luke, do you think our defense has the potential to be a top 5 this upcoming season? I appreciate the question. It's a very good question. And so I think there's a lot of things, obviously, we have to look at when it comes to, this Packers defense taking the jump under the first year of Jeff Hafley as a defensive coordinator. And first off, when we just look at the Packers and their roster from last season to this season on the defensive side, I do think the Packers have made some improvements, specifically adding Xavier McKinney at safety, which I think will have a massive impact on the way that this Packers defense plays in 2024. But when we go by, each position here, defensive line, I'd say it's pretty similar to last season. Not really any big changes there. I think the Packers have a very solid defensive line, very solid edge rushing group, defensive ends. Linebacker, there's some questions there this year. Even though the Packers drafted Edgerrin Cooper, I feel like when your team drafts a second-round guy, you automatically plug that person in as, okay, they're going to be a solid starter. And you don't always know if, guys bust all the time when it comes to where they're drafted. And especially looking at Edgerrin Cooper, he had not been in the starting team defense for most of training camp. And then you also throw in the fact that now he's dealing with an injury. It's not the greatest start for Edgerrin Cooper right now. And, I don't think you can ever rule a player out, even in their first couple seasons, because guys develop and grow. And Edgerrin Cooper could even do that to end out training camp, to end out the preseason, and maybe he does start. But right now, when we're looking at the linebacker group, I do have some questions because Isaiah McDuffie and Eric Wilson have been playing next to Quay Walker in the 4-3 defense, and they've been seemingly playing pretty good. But I do wonder, are they going to be able to produce at the same level that Devondre Campbell had been producing? I know Campbell took a dip down last year as he's gotten a little bit older and dealt with some more injuries. But I do question the linebacker spot if Edgerrin Cooper can't work his way into the starting lineup. Will that be enough? I think Quay's a really, really good player, very good tackler. But I do have some more questions at that spot. Then at cornerback, I think the Packers have a chance to be better than last year. Jair will be there, Nixon, and Eric Stokes. If Eric Stokes plays like he did in his first season, which I think there's a good chance that happens, he can at least get close to that level based on the reports we've seen out of training camp with how good he's been playing. I think that if Stokes even gets close to that, he'll be better than Carrington Valentine was last year. Even though I think Carrington Valentine had a solid season for a 7th-round rookie, and he's made lots of nice plays in camp. So I think corner could be better. Then I think the biggest improvement is at safety, with Xavier McKinney coming in. Last year it was mainly Jonathan Owens and Darnell Savage, and I don't think the safety play out of the Packers last year was very great. But now you get one of the best safeties in the entire NFL, with the Packers making Xavier McKinney a top 5 safety. And so all in all, just off of the players on this defense, I think that the Packers are a little bit better. And then I think the biggest factor, of course, is Jeff Hafley. And we've talked about it a lot on this channel. It looks like he's bringing a very aggressive scheme, a scheme that the players seem to be very, very excited about. And when you're looking at the team during the training camp time, the preseason time, even back in OTAs and minicamp, it's hard to really know, based off of what's happening at those practices, how good this defense will really be in the regular season, because I think for most teams, there's so much optimism being put out, so much expectation and hope of how things could be with the changes that are made. And lots of times in the NFL, some of these changes don't end up panning out as you had hoped, because I think that when you look at free agent additions on any team throughout the offseason, you always look at it, most fans look at it, even me as a Packers fan, look at it from a perspective of, okay, we brought in this guy, that's going to mean that this position is fixed, we're great there. It depends on the level of free agent, but I think that sometimes these free agents that come in don't end up panning out. Same when it comes to offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators. Mostly what's looked at is, okay, the optimistic point of view. And so I am very optimistic with Jeff Hafley. From what we've heard, his aggressive style, the way the defensive players seem to be excited about it. And when you compare it to last year with Joe Barry, just how passive things were, how soft the defense was, having a defense that plays physically, plays aggressively, and is willing to, I think, really, be a more potent defense when it comes to forcing turnovers, when it comes to just making the offense have to beat you instead of sitting back, letting quarterbacks dink it and dunk it on you. I feel like I'd much rather lose, bring in the heat, bring in the blitz, trying to make other quarterbacks beat you, depending on who the quarterback is, of course. That's just a defense I think I'd prefer. Now, there probably are some consequences or other things that'll happen when you are a much more aggressive defense, which I would guess we'd see a lot more big plays against this defense. Because if you're bringing blitzes and you have less guys back, there's probably going to be times where some dude runs deep 60 yards and is wide open. That's probably going to happen with a more aggressive style defense. So I guess you sort of have to pick your poison in a way. But all in all, I do think everything we've seen from Jeff Hafley, from what these players are saying, and looking at the changes that have been made, I think to allow this team to be much more, just to be much more reactive, not have to sit back and be too in your head and having a game plan that's too complicated, which it seemed like at times that was the case for the Packers last year. It sounds like they're going to play much faster. It's going to allow these guys to really live up to the talent that they have. And so all in all, when you look at the Packers and their ranks last year, they were the 10th best scoring defense, 17th in yards, 23rd in EPA per play, 28th in rushing defense, 13th in pass yards, 31st in interceptions. It was sort of all around when you look at those ranks. One of the worst rushing defenses, which it has been for a long while in Green Bay. 10th best scoring, however. But all in all, I do think they have a chance to be top 5. How high of a chance? It's hard to tell right now at this point in the season. But I think the best case scenario, that's definitely in the realm of possibilities. But I would say that definitely this is a top 10 defense. That's my take right now. I just think that there's too much talent here. I think we have one of the best edge rushers in the league, defensive ends, Rashawn Gary. One of the best corners in the league, Jair Alexander. One of the best safeties in the league, Xavier McKinney. There's so much talent here. I just find it hard to believe that this isn't a top 10 defense. But those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.